It's been a difficult time for you, your government, your country. I know you've had a series of meetings at the forum with foreign leaders. Can you tell us, just give us an indication from your conversations, how close we might be to getting that aid delivered from the United States?
Well, we received reassurances that the aid is on its way. The good news is that we see that the Congress is not debating the aid to Ukraine per se. The discussion is on the border issue, and there are no disagreements on whether and to what extent Ukraine should be helped, and this is important. So while the aid itself is not in question, the timeline is in question, and I think that today we are in a situation when the US citizens are as interested in passing this law to fix the border issue as we are to fix the assistance issue.
Did Secretary Blinken or Jake Sullivan give you any indication of what that timeline would look like?
Well, I think the specificity of the moment is that it can literally happen on any day. It just depends on the moment when legislators make a deal on the border. It can happen today, tomorrow, next week, in 2 weeks' time. No one can tell you that, but we are close. As far as we understand, we are getting closer to that point.
The elephant in the room at Davos has been a return of the former president. How is Kyiv preparing for another Trump presidency?
Well, how can we prepare for anything that does not depend on us? People in America will make their choice, and we will work with that choice. President Zelensky and President Trump know each other. If he is elected, it will be a continuation of relationship, but first elections must take place. I just want to say one thing. We've been through so many things in our life, especially in the last 2 years. We are literally ready for any scenario in any part of the world.
I know you have to wait for Americans to go to the polls and make that decision, but there must be conversations happening at the high level of government in Ukraine about what would happen if Trump did become president, how that might shift your policies.
Well, we are inquiring into how the potential foreign policy team of President Trump could look like. And we're looking at these names, but I don't know, maybe we haven't worked enough, but I think it's even not certain, not obvious for US analysts and people in the United States. But anyway, again, let me make this point. Whatever happens, we are ready for that. We've worked a lot with President Biden and his administration. They did a great job helping us, and we will always be grateful to the people of America and to the Congress, to the Biden administration for helping us to survive in the most difficult times. But I'm absolutely confident that support, irrespective of what will be the name of the next president of the United States, the victory of Ukraine will be in the best interests of America and American people.
Minister, we've seen President Zelensky meeting with a lot of bank executives, trying to drum up support. Have there been any meetings with any of the Chinese policymakers who have been here at Davos?
No, because President Zelensky speaks with President Xi. And there were 2 phone calls between them, one before the war and another one after the large-scale invasion began. This is the line of contact that they're upholding. And we have our Prime Minister, and we have nothing against Chinese Prime Minister and Ukrainian Prime Minister speaking to each other. But we are now working on organizing another call between leaders of China and Ukraine, because there are things that they can talk about, namely peace formula proposed by President Zelensky as a way to restore just and lasting peace in Ukraine.
How are the business leaders in places like the United States, Jamie Dimon, for example, instrumental for Ukraine right now?
Well, President had 2 excellent sessions with business leaders, and I think this is the added value of Davos. You cannot do skiing, but you can do business skiing with the business leaders who gather all here, at Davos. And I was impressed with very positive atmosphere. It's very different from what you read in the news and in different expert comments published widely. Business is very focused on helping Ukraine. Business believes in Ukraine, and business is focused on finding solution instead of just endlessly discussing problems.
What we see in America with this stalled money, we also see American consumers worried about inflation. And there are questions, why is this money being sent abroad? At the same time, there's reports of Putin putting out feelers, their intermediaries, potentially wanting to sow this doubt that potentially the U.S. would do some sort of agreement with Russia and try to get Ukraine to the table. What do you make of that? Have you discussed these reports with your counterparts in the United States?
Well, first, Ukraine does not steal any money from American taxpayers. If you compare the overall budget, even just the defense spending of the United States and the sum of money allocated to Ukraine, it's, to say the least, a very little part of the overall defense spendings. Moreover, a vast amount of this money stays in the United States because it's invested in the production of weapons that goes then to Ukraine, and it needs to be explained to American taxpayers that their communities benefit from it, their new jobs are created. Second, everyone should understand one simple fact. Whatever the price of supporting Ukraine today is, the price of fixing the mess in the world if Ukraine loses will be much, much higher. And most importantly, Ukraine is probably the first country in the world that is fighting a war against another country, has United States as an ally, and is not asking American troops on the ground. So you save the most important, you save few lives of your soldiers. So we kind of offer the best deal on global market of security. Give us the weapons, give us the money, and we will finish the job.
2022, excuse me, was all about coalescing around Ukraine, all hands on deck. 2023 was this counteroffensive. It didn't really go as planned. What is 2024 about in Ukraine? What is the plan this year?
2024 will be about throwing Russia from the air, because the one who dominates the air defines the timeline of the war and the terms of peace. It will be about filling the front line with drones and other sophisticated technology, because the counteroffensive that you mentioned taught us an important lesson, how war changed and how drones and software and artificial intelligence become the real kind of masterminds of warfare. 2024 will also be about keeping the Black Sea under Ukrainian control, because we achieved a major victory on the Black Sea last year when we made the the invincible Russian Black Sea fleet flee Crimea and hide on the eastern side of the Black Sea, and that allowed us to restore our exports, and food prices in the world are under control. Ukrainian economy has like a fresh breath because export is finally working. So this is all very important thing. And of course, another goal for 2024 is frozen assets, Russian frozen assets. They must become available for Ukraine.
That's highly controversial. Why do you think that's the case? Rule of law is tremendously important. Do you not think there's a risk around establishing a precedent on that issue?
Well, first, how much bankers and lawyers in the West were thinking about rule of law, harboring dirty money of Russian oligarchs, laundering them and helping them out. Second, to what extent Russian money should be protected by Western rules, as long as Russia attacked Western rules and wants to destroy them and to build a world that will know no rule of law.
Yeah.
And third, guys, you have far better experience in business. When politicians make a will, make a decision, bankers and lawyers find solutions. We can engage in an endless discussion about immunities and legal repercussions, but the solution is there. We just need to make it.